Hello, friends. Welcome. Hello, hello. I'm excited to be here today. I feel like I haven't been on here for a minute. And I love Alive. I love a real chat, real time conversation about the things that need to be said. So come on in, get cozy. Let's chat. How are things going in your world today? I always ask my homeward ladies when we're getting into our homeward coaching experiences to drop a word in the chat to kind of give me a temperature reading on your frequency, your energy today. Where are you at? What are you feeling today? What's on top in your world? I want to be just really helpful today and just really transparent and direct about business right now, about what I see working right now, about what I see shifting and changing in the landscape of coaching. This all comes from me being a private mentor, a one-to-one coach, also someone who's done live events and has had a podcast for 10 years, who has worked with, basically just like say a name and I know them. I have worked with them in some capacity. I've been out here for a long time. And I think that we are in a moment in history right now that is obviously different. Shall I use the word unprecedented? And it is also really exciting because what happens when we're in these times is that it makes us think differently and it invites us into our creativity and it invites us into getting to what is most essential. I'm just going to turn my space heater off. Still cold here. It's like, could we just get some warm weather in the Northeast? It is this invitation to think differently and dynamically. And that's my favorite thing in the entire world. So I want to really underscore that. I have built this business over the last 12 years. It has continued to grow through a pandemic, through personal loss, through challenges, like through everything. And the only consistent thing through it all is that it has continued to work. And there are some reasons for that I want to really underscore right now, because I think that helping you guys get focused on the things that actually work and really like simplifying is going to be the thing that helps you have the summer that you want to have. And as somebody who has two kids who are young, the two most important numbers in my world, in my orbit, are 4 and 12, because those are the ages of my kids. And you better believe I am soaking up every little second of time with them that I get to have. And I don't take it lightly. I don't take it lightly. Fast forward 10 years from now, and I'm in a completely different era of life and existence. And so it's this very sacred moment. And frankly, it's the entire reason why I built my business in the first place. My daughter was 9 months old when I left my career in collegiate athletics and built this business from the ground up, from one client to what it has become today, which is a multi-7-figure coaching company that helps people all over the world, from my little nest here in New Hampshire, in the treehouse. So, hi, it's so good to see you. Lots of familiar names, some new folks. Good to see you. If we're just meeting for the first time, so happy that you're here. Thanks for joining. I'm going to get right into it, and I've got my notes in front of me, and I've got some things up that I want to speak to, and hopefully this will be like refreshing to you. Hopefully this will be illuminating to you. I'm also open to answering questions and stuff. So if things come up for you as I'm sharing some of these topics, feel free to just pop it in the chat in terms of what's relevant to you, what you want me to elaborate on. As some of my clients will tell you, I love a good riff and I love being set loose on a riff. So if there's something that you're like, wait, say more about that, happy to do it. Happy to do it. So here's what I really think is happening in our coaching industry. And it's something that I'm actually quite delighted to see. Not in the way that, maybe it's going to sound in the way that I say this, but I'm delighted because I think it's like opening things up, like things are breaking open in a way that they've needed to. And it's very simply this. It's like, I really see this hierarchical way that we've come to coaching, that we've come to this industry, that we've come to how things work is collapsing. And that hierarchy, I think it's really important to note, is like something that we've had constructed in our brains. I have clients who will often say to me, like, who do I think that I am to want to work with somebody at this level or to make this much money? And What I want to say to you guys right now is like, I just want to flatten that whole thing and just say to you, it's all relative. And it's all a reflection of the story that you're telling yourself inside of your own head about what reality actually is. I was reading something this morning that was just making me remind myself of the idea that a belief is almost like an entity, if you really think about it like that a belief system and belief set and belief structure can literally permeate an entire lifetime and can make you think that this is how things are. And you can exist inside of that little like ant farm of your beliefs and think that that's the sky, you know? And the truth is that we are so incredibly limitless and we are so incredibly boundless. And we are going to be able to create the reality for ourselves and in our businesses and so on and so forth based upon the belief set that we are running in our personal hard drive. And so if you have lived in like a guru culture kind of world, or in the structure of like, I'm going to graduate and get myself to a certain place, and then everything's going to be great, and then I'll be able to have what I want. I just want to break that open for you today. I just want to like smash it on the floor and break that open and say to you, like, that's just an illusion. And it's just a model that, a lot of us are raised to exist in. And it's been helpful up until the point that it's no longer helpful. And so something that one of my friends said to me last week, my friend Lisa Fraley said, we're going from guru culture to like the trusted guide. And I think that's where a lot of us come in, right? It's like we are the trusted guide. At least that's how I hope that people will perceive me as a coach. I always say, like, I walk shoulder to shoulder with my client. I don't actually know what's best for you. I do know, though, how to ask you really good questions based upon my understanding of the landscape and the geography that we are traversing together. I know how to help you overcome the resistance that you have about climbing up that next rock face. I know how to help you stay safe in the process of doing that. And I know how to help you get the results that you want, which is probably to get to the summit. But I also have no guarantees on certain things, like how long it's going to take. Because sometimes, right? And I said this in the email that I just sent out. My coach just said this to me. It's like the things that used to take 3 months that we could help somebody do in 3 months. It's in some cases it's like taking 3 years. And that might sound extreme, and it's certainly like accordioning in outside of that. But I think if you're expecting yourself to have the results that you had even like 2 years ago in the same time frame, or you're expecting your clients to get those exact same results, depending on what it is that you do, like you might need to relook at that. And I feel like me shouting that out to all of you right now, hopefully will be sort of like a collective exhale moment to say, like, we are navigating waters that we've never paddled before. And it's just like the pandemic in a lot of ways that like we were all having to figure that out at exactly the same time. Like the newness level of what we were dealing with. No one had ever lived through that before, like in the major populace. And so it's very much happening again. And one of the reasons why, as we know, is because of the continual evolution of technology. And if you're anything like me, you have like an absolute extreme love-hate relationship with it. I'm actually curious too, if you're watching this and you're able to type into the chat, like on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being like, I have a hard time remembering how to like navigate my settings in my iPhone, to like 10 being I'm an AI like programmer. Like Apple, I work for Apple. Like, where are you on the spectrum of use of AI right now? Like, that was a weird way I said that, but you get what I'm saying. 1 to 10, like 1 barely at all, 10 like I'm programming it. I'd love to know that, like where you guys are landing with that. Okay. I know I don't even have to ask this question because I know my people, that you're probably having your own version of like, this is scary, dangerous, and also like, oh, that's really helpful and cool too. But here's the thing that's happening with this AI explosion. And it's so fascinating to me to see like what different brands and coaches and teachers and people are doing and like who's popping off and all that. Like, it's so fascinating to me. I'm just like sitting there eating popcorn, watching this whole thing. And I don't think that AI is inherently bad in any way. So I also want to underscore that. In fact, I think it's also important to note though that like the artificial part of the intelligence is a very there's some elements to this that are really important for us, you guys, that I want you to take note of. Um, it is like this real pendulum swing thing right now. And learning how to stay sovereign with what's happening, right? And the way that it's unfolding is essential. It's like, how do I use this to my highest good? And how do I remember that everything that comes out of this thing is predicated on everything that has existed up until this point, but not on what doesn't exist yet and what could exist, because that's where the humans come in. And so this is why your coaching work and the work that you're doing is so incredibly important, where your intuition, the original technology, the highest level of your skill is so freaking critical right now, and so important for you to stay locked in on that and to not get like swept away. And also not to like give it all away to AI, which is like a whole nother conversation that I'm actually not having right now, but it's like an interlude that I needed to inject. But I think that with this oversaturation of like everything being so like slop heavy, and there being so much of this like in our sphere, the thing that cuts through is the opposite. And so one thing I want you guys to be thinking about in your world and your work, it's like, where can your offering and what you're doing be a bit countercultural? How can what you're doing have like a level of romance and artistry in it that cannot be commoditized and cannot be AI ified? And that at the end of the day is your human. That is your responder. That is your ability to move with people in the complexity of the human experience. That is the road tested, lived experience and results that you can be putting forward in a bigger way. And so that's something that just feels like we've got to really pinpoint that and talk about like the simplicity and the magic of your humanity and the heart-to-heart connection that's available with your community, because AI cannot have this conversation that I'm having with you right now. Like a robot can't do this. That's so cool, right? That's so great. The next thing I want to talk about, and like these are pieces of things I'm inviting you in your own way to be bringing forward. These are the things that I'm seeing that are working right now and winning right now for my clients, because I have clients that are still doing really well. I also have some clients that are struggling and things are feeling really challenging for them. There's a complexity there. I think there's a whole spectrum. I mean, that's the beauty of this work. This third piece that can't be avoided and yet feels, I think, really complex to people in this space often. And there's like a lot of reasons for this. There's like the emotional part of it. There's wiring, conditioning part of it. There's the feeling like you maybe aren't qualified to say this, is like really leading with your results and your experiences, leading with the authentic connection of your human, and giving yourself more opportunity for that version of yourself to come forward in your full brilliance and your full humanity and your full like heartbeat. Let's have a conversation. Let's be real. Here's like these quirky, eccentric things that are unique to me that I just want to share with you, like the actual natural sharing process of being here and human. And because I know a lot of you that are watching this right now, one of the things I'm going to say that I feel like we could do better at collectively, and I certainly could do better at this, so I'll name that myself, is like actually claiming your own success. And what do I mean by this? I'm not necessarily saying, let's pop off all the screenshots, right? And like, look at my Stripe account. That's not what I'm saying, though. That's great if that's something that you feel like you want to do. What I'm saying is like your success is inherent in you sharing your life, your way of living, your way of doing things, your way of thinking about things. Like it's not this like overt, let me show you my trophy situation. It's like, let me show you the result of having gone on the journey to win the trophy that is behind the scenes of all of this. I'd like, let me bring that forward to you. Let me talk about my countercultural beliefs about things. Let me talk about you about the time that I really struggled with a lived experience and what came from that. Let me be a less polished, less um, perfectly scripted version of me, and let me show up and be the real human. Now, again, going back to what I was saying with all this AI stuff, that it's like that shouldn't have a feeling of being novel or it should just like be. But because so many people now are outsourcing their voices to AI, to this homogenous system that is going to write in a very similar way. Like, how quickly do you get the cadence of something that was written by AI? Like, I mean, it's going to just continue to get better and better. So it's going to be harder and harder to discern that. Yes. But I know how our brains work. Like, we are so incredibly discerning. And even if you can't put your finger on it, you can feel when something is off. It's like, that's weird, right? Something doesn't match here. And so, yes, Liz, exactly. Like, being able to clock that so quickly also means, this is the part I want you guys to get. It also means that you clock when something is unique. You clock when something is original. You clock when something feels different. And then it's like there's like it feels precious. There's something precious about that in a good way. And so this next thing I want to lean into right now is like the artistry of how you do what you do, how you live, Did I say that properly? Why you live, whatever. The artistry of that, like the magic and the romance of that. This is this little piece that I feel like nobody's talking about, because it's like, let me get the strategy of the thing, the output, the optimization. I mean, let's go back to why AI exists in the first place. Like, you can look at this from a million different directions. The biggest thing that was the most fear producing for me at the very beginning of it all, where I was very, very skeptical of it at the very beginning, like of last year when it was really like popping off, was because of the main premise behind why we needed to have it. And it still doesn't settle wonderfully in my spirit. However, I know that it's not going anywhere. And so I'm going to make art of it. I'm going to make it beautiful, because that's how I do things. And I digress. That's a whole nother, again, I mean, I've so many tangents. I could just continue to go on, but what I want to bring back to you guys is like, where are you bringing the art form of you forward? Into every way that you show up in your life, and yes, in your business. You have so many places where you can do this, whether it is in, like, my dear client, Laura, who's doing daily reels, and she's just showing up and talking to camera, and she's doing it from the barn. She's doing it from the road while she's traveling to a horse show. She's doing it in her office. She's doing it on a walk. Like, she's just sharing. She's sitting in the car, right? It's like, this is me talking about the topics of my life, and I'm bringing those bits of wisdom to you, and I'm bringing them forward because this is my art form. This is my expression. I want you to be in the passenger seat with me while I'm having this conversation. So it's like, what is your version of that? I think we get so caught up, you guys, in the formality of like, this is the plan. This is how I follow the plan. This is the best practice. This is how I do it. Best practices are being blown open right now. Best practices, as we have known them, are like tectonic plate shifting in real time into creating a new world to exist within. So it's like, what are your personal best practices? And let's actually bring those forward. Let's lean in on the you version of this. But the thing is, and I led with this, is that this hierarchical structure that we have been so indoctrinated into is collapsing. Guru culture is dying off. And the trusted guide, the like, let's walk together, like, oh, this person doesn't have all the answers. I mean, isn't it interesting that even AI doesn't have all the answers? I love when that happens. When AI just like bombs, I love it. Yesterday, I asked it to do something for me. And I read, it created this like PDF for me and I read it and I was like, what is this? And it goes, oh, I didn't have enough information. So I just made it up. It was so amazing. I was like, that's incredible. Way to go. That is absolutely useless to me. I could never use that. And I'm having a good laugh over this. Thank you for the story, friend. The idea that someone else has our answers, even AI, will be the universal joke. And I love it. So what is our invitation right now? Like what is creating sales right now? Like what is moving the needle? Well, I feel like the little Cheshire cat because the way that I have focused my business from day one has always been about relationship building, has always been about drip, 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 building body of work, building brand world, being so incredibly consistent in showing up in leadership and sharing the message of what is and being like, and it's working. It is working. Here's the second part of that installation. It's having a really rock solid offer system and suite. It's knowing what your offers are. And here's the thing, a lot of times those offers are like not that sexy in the way of like the hype of the launch, the hype of like, let me bring out this next thing. Yet there are opportunities around those evergreen, rock solid, tale as old as time offers that deliver all of that inside of them, where you can have the flair and the flash and the fun, where you can host the masterclass or the 5-day challenge or the whatever. You know, you can pop those things up and in to create momentum into these other offers. But there's something about consistency right now, you guys. Like there's something about the connection point of deep relationship and trust building that is the non-negotiable game winner. Thank you, Christy. Appreciate you reflecting that back. And why? Because humans. Because human hearts, because human souls, because we've seen this movie, you guys. I laugh about it, thinking about how, you know, back in the 90s and the 2000s and stuff, like these movies that we would watch about like the robots taking over and all this stuff. I'm like, oh, that's so crazy. And I just am like, we watched the movie. We saw it. I mean, it was, again, another topic, the suggestive programming. But what always wins the day in those movies? The humans, the heroes, the self-proclaimed, we're going to see this thing through. We're going to do the right thing. We're going to center humanity. But here's what I'm going to tell you. And for some of you guys, this is like, I can already feel my heart is like, I'm going to tell you the real thing. You have to face whatever it is that's inside of you that is keeping you from allowing yourself to come forward and be in relationship to your work, to the people that want to experience your work, that need to experience your work, and to all the former versions of you that have survived every single thing you've ever survived to get to this point. Like, this is our moment, guys. This is actually our moment. The truth tellers, the seers, the oracles, the healers, the non-hype people, the people who have been so steady this whole way and have a gift, who have a skill, who have something that actually that cannot be commoditized by tech because it is part of the original technology. And I'm just going to say this to you, like, if you don't believe that is true and you're so gripped in fear, that's going to be a problem. If you want to avoid the experience and the expression of like putting yourself out there and letting people see you in all of your imperfect glory, that's going to continue to be a challenge, because what I'm telling you guys today is like, that is your X factor. Um, and here's the thing. The beauty of it is that since people are more discerning than ever because they've had all of the reasons to become that, like the human brain is the most sophisticated supercomputer that has ever existed and will ever exist. I really truly believe that. Listen, like all these things that are being created, robots and all this stuff, like they're just trying to become humans. They're trying to operate at the level of like what being alive, like the gift of being alive actually offers to us. And so what does this have to do, all this? Because I know some of you guys are just like, whoa, okay, wow. Yeah. What does this have to do with your business? What does this have to do with preparation for what comes next? Well, I mean, everything would be the short answer. But secondly, it is like this clean slate for you to really create the thing that is going to be of highest service and the most clear as far as like the signal and the channel and the communication for the people that need what you do and what you offer most. And if that feels tricky, because that feels tricky. What I want to tell you is like it actually gets to be even more granular than you have let yourself believe. Here's part of the reason why. You know that old saying, like, you can't read the label inside of the jar. Well, that is true. And you also like can't ever really fully perceive the fullness of what you are. It's very bewildering. And then when you have grown up in dynamics where you were not like beheld for being all of what you are, you weren't encouraged to be all of what you are, you weren't, in fact, in some cases, a lot of folks have been diminished for being all of what they are. That makes that even more confusing and bewildering. And so like, what do we do with that? Right? Because I'm curious, like by just a show of hands or hearts, like how many of you know exactly what I'm talking about? It creates an even wider gap between like, I think I want to do this and people are experiencing me like this, but I don't know how to like register that. It feels like the gap is so wide. And it's like the way that we close that gap is by getting really granular at what we're really good at and what feels awesome to us to do. And then offering it and testing it and putting it out there and giving people invitations on repeat to have experiences with us. And the second part of that is like being so enmeshed in your own work that you are just like sharing it so freely and so generously and so expressively. It's like almost removing that filter from your brain that is like, is this okay? Am I all right? Will they get it? Da, da, da. Honestly, one of my favorite things about myself and like the way that I've just charged forward to do what I do in my business is like, I don't really need to be understood. In fact, I enjoy being misunderstood. I've gotten to this place where I love that it's confusing to you that I'm a business coach and a poet. But what I know is if you're watching this, it's not confusing to you. Like to my people, that's not confusing to them. They're like, yeah, obviously. That's why I'm here. I want to have that level of a conversation about business because what the heck, And so, yeah. Now is the time to bring more of your weird forward. And I use air quotes when I say that. Like more of your irreverent, expressive, sort of like unique, mysterious self. I was just talking to a client who's just like a genius and she's talking about, being the villain and I'm obsessed with it. It's like, what are these little edges and these little dynamics that you can throw into the mix in what you're doing? How can you undomesticate yourself? How can you stop making yourself try to follow the trends and make sense to people? We don't need to do that anymore. But what you do need to do is own the fullness of what you are and what you've accomplished and what you've achieved, what you've learned, what you've experienced and expressed. And I think if we put all these pieces together, of everything I talked about today. You just are in a completely different echelon. And when you become really, 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 really passionate about what you're talking about, and you are talking about it as a result of that, it's like, it's so magnetic. It makes people lean in. It's like, wait, whoa, she's saying something totally different. Thank you, Christy. The poet, business coach, Division 1 athlete, cat lady, forest fairy. Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to live my life seeking to be understood. I want to live my life. You know how I'm going to finish the sentence. Seeking to understand that which feels beyond comprehension. That's what's exciting to me in life. And so that's the wave that I'm always riding. And what I want you guys to hear is that no one else's method and process is going to be a perfect combination unlock for you in your business. You will take pieces of that. But the fact that you keep seeking for like that piece of paper, you're like digging around, you're like, give me the code, give me the combo code, is actually a distraction from you being in the fullness of your magic. And I'll just say this, if you needed to hear this today. I was laughing about this the other day. I've worked with so many different guides and coaches and teachers. And, I'm just a sponge. I love to learn. I'm always like soaking things up. And there hasn't been one person or method or thing that has like figured it out for me. That doesn't exist. That's not real. Like, hear this from the business coach herself saying this to you. That's not real. In fact, I have watched not only myself, but clients go try to do that and then break their business as a result. Like, absolutely break their business trying to do somebody else's process. And so what I want you guys to hear me say today is, I was just going to sing a song, but I'm going to spare you of that. You can go your own way. You must. And what you invite into your support universe right now has to be trusted guide, has to be walking buddy, has to be, hey, did you think about this? Hey, what about that? Whoa, that's amazing. That's incredible. Where do you think that's coming from? It's like, not this is the way, because that's not real. So take everything I've said today, apply it, imbibe it, and then flip it around to think about how you could be doing all of this in your business in relationship to the people you're wanting to help right now. Like, it's an and both. It always is. And how can you bring some of these concepts, the artistry, the results and the experience, the lived truth, the trusted guide piece, the quirkiness, I'm just going to say the thing to say the thing, the like real human version of you to everything that you're doing in your offers and in your marketing and in your invitations to people to come over and have connection with you. What feels unique and different? What feels like wildly you? The last thing I'm going to give you is, this is the little cherry on top. As we expand our capacity within ourselves for receiving, for holding, for the being able to do a live, right? Being able to talk into, I record my podcast on my phone, talk into a microphone, record your podcast with like nothing on the other side, just your imagination. Write an email into the void, post the thing on, right? Like, send your little signals out into the universe, knowing that you're probably not going to get a ton of feedback. How do you build the capacity inside of yourself and the grit to keep going when there's a voice inside of you that's screaming, saying like, nobody cares. Is it just me? Am I the only one that has that voice come up at times? No, I know I'm not. And what I have learned as someone who's been doing this for a long time and has yapped a lot on these interwebs and put a lot of thought out into the world is that you are not responsible for how people perceive you and respond to you. Like my responsibility ends at the end of my sentence and the end of the aura that I'm extending, right? That's my only job. And you can take what is helpful and you can take what is useful and you can leave the rest. My job is to stay sovereign within myself and to get back on the board and ride the wave because I enjoy it, because it's fun. Because what else am I going to do? And I'm looking at you in the eyes, my love, because what else are you going to do? You're literally here to share what's coming in and through you and to put it back out and to let it do this. That's what you are here for. And you know it. And so you've got to stay with it. And I think the other thing, I'm going to say this. Finding a live wire, finding a live person to connect with is really, really essential. And gone are the days that we can just go post something on Instagram and expect like all these comments back. I mean, what I know about my ideal client is y'all are real good at like being quiet. Like, I know you're looking I know you're looking. I know. You could hit a heart every now and again, you know, guys, appreciate that. But like, that's what people are doing now. Everybody's watching. And there's so much less engagement than there ever used to be. And to me, that's just like a sign of the times and what people are, the stories that people are walking with and the collective shift in how things are moving. And then the internalization that's happened as a result of that. It just is. It is your job to put yourself where you can connect with people and to stay really, really steady in the process of that. And to remember that the whole point of this whole thing at the end of the day is to help people. Don't get it twisted. The money part is an effect. And when you are helping people in a way that speaks to directly what they perceive as their problem, and you've learned how to like hook those things up, the money part comes. But it's an art form and it's a process. So your homework right now, my darlings, is to absorb what we've talked about here today. The second part is to go where people are. You're going to have to do things a little differently in this era. You might have to like go be in person with people. And I promise you, you will be so grateful that you did. You are meant to go and show up as a representative on behalf of your mission and to speak in person with people about what it is that you do in your work. It's to set up a coffee chat. It's like, we've got to do things differently and we've got to put in way more reps as it relates to, you know, brand establishment, which is essentially like what inevitably happens when we decide that we're going to go connect with people. And so if things are feeling flat, if things are feeling stale, if things are feeling like they're not happening the way you want them to happen in your business right now, this is your open invitation to get more skin in the game and to go where the people are and to be helpful and to be of service. And I promise you, it will be the best choice that you make for 1 million reasons. You will feel the gift of the human connection. We've got to get off of just this and go and be together. And one of the ways you can do that is by, yes, you're still going to be doing screens at times, but like having real-time connections with people and with your audience, your community. So good. I'll give you guys a second if you have any questions or anything that you want me to riff on or anything that's like popping up for you in this. I could probably do like a 24-hour live stream talking about 1 million different topics. And I could just go and go and go and go, but I'm not going to do that for the sake of this conversation today. I hope it was a recalibrator for you. That was my hope. I hope that this kind of spoke to some of the things that you maybe needed to hear, brought up some new concepts and some things for you to be thinking about, and served as an invitation to spark you into the necessary action that you need to be taking right now in this time-space reality. I want you to hear me say, sales are still happening. People are making sales. Businesses are working. People need people. They have to understand in as a concise and clear way how you're going to help them. And that is going to take some repetition, sometimes saying the same thing over and over and over and over again, in order to help that become clear. And if you're in my Homeward program, which Tracy, I know that you are, come on over to our community space and ask your questions about what we can give you feedback on and clarify, because that's what that space is for. If you are here and you are looking for a business coaching community or for private mentorship, you can check everything out in my universe. The simplest way to do that is just go to my website, amberlilyestrom.com. And if you are interested in coaching and exploring that more deeply, you can apply at amberlilyestrom.com/breakthrough. So I'll put that link down here. I have 2 spots open for June, and we could have a chat about that, getting you in the queue to get started next month. So onward, inward, homeward, as we say. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you for being here for this little live chat today. And if you have percolating questions that pop up as you watch this replay, drop them down in the comments and I will get back to you. All right, friends, you got this. Keep going. Be human. It'll work. I love you. I appreciate you. Bye.